Good evening. In previous session, we have seen the concept of nested functions and how to return a function from another function. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about function decorators. So first, let us see with small example. Later, we will come back to our concept. So first, we have to understand what is meant by a decorator. So let us see about decorator. So it is a decorator. So what is the use of decorator? Let us see now. So decoration means what? Let us consider if we are having any function, we are going to decorate in our house. We are going to decorate with some balloons, some other decoration items. We are going to decorate. That means what? Already one house is already present. For that, additionally, we are going to add some decoration. That means in our concept of function decorators, first already one function will be there. If you want to add some other functionality to existing function, then we are going to the concept of decorators. So better example, I am going to take one small example. For example, I am going to consider a bride. So this is one bride is going to, for example, beauty parlor. So what happens after? Internally he is going to do what in beauty parlor? What is going to be happen? Some decoration is going to be done. That is nothing but makeup is going to be done. After that, if he comes out, whatever the bride we have seen before will not be same. She is having some additional features. For example, some additional features she is going to have. That means internally something is happened. Finally the output is generated with some additional features. So input I am going to give to some decorator, and inside this decorator it is going to perform some additional operation. That means it is going to add some additional features for that function, and finally we are going to get the output. So now I'm going to tell the definition of this decorator. Here a decorator is going to take a function. So takes in a function. Let us consider this is a decorator. This is decorator. For example, it is going to take in a function. It is going to take a function and it's add some functionality, some additional functionality it is going to add here. And finally, after adding some functionality, whatever the functionality it is added, it is going to return. That means it is going to take the function as an input, and it's going to add some features to this function, and it's going to return that function. So this function will not be modified. A new function is going to be returned here. This concept is called as decorator. So let us take one small example. Input function I am going to give to what? Decorator. So what this decorator is going to do? Let us consider decorator function. What this decorator function is going to do? It is going to add some additional functionalities to this input function, and it is going to return some output function. So what will be the output function? Output function is nothing but what? Input function and some additional features that are added by this decorator function. This is the concept of decorator. So what is the main purpose here? So without modifying, see, we have to observe what? Without modifying this existing function, that is input function, decorator function is going to give a new function with an additional features, that is additional functionality. So this is the main purpose of decorator. So once again I'm repeating, without modifying the existing function, decorator function gives new function as an output with an extended functionality, or we can say with an additional functionality. The concept is called as this is the purpose of our decorators. So if we see some example of this decorator, we will get clarity on this function decorators. So just I will take a small example, so then you'll get a clarity on this function decorators. So first I will take the name of the function as decorator function. Okay, you can take any name, but for easiness I am going to take decor function, and inside that I am going to pass one parameter. Now inside this I am going to take inner as a function. Now here I am going to take name. So name I am going to take, and in this just I am going to check if name equal to Shiva, for example, then what I have to do, I have to print some good evening. Some good evening. Okay, right. So now if else case, let us take some else case. It has to print, it has to call function of name. So I will tell you clearly what it is. Now finally, after completing this one, I have to return something. So I am going to return inner. So this is one function. So I am going to consider this one as a decorator function. So how to call a decorator function? I am going to call now. I am going to write one more function here. I am going to write one more function called as wish function, where I am going to pass some name here. So here I want to print, just I want to wish something, some message like I'm going to write hi, whatever the name I am passing here, that name, and I want to say some good evening. So here I am going to write good evening. Okay. So this is the concept, or already I have taken here good evening. So that just I will take here good morning. Okay. So here I have taken good morning. Now this is the concept. If I am going to execute this program, let us see what happens. So just I am going to call wish of, I'm going to call as Shiva, for example. So and I'm going to execute this program, so that we are going to get hi Shiva, good morning. That means I am going to call only this function, but I need some additional functionality for this wish function. That is, if I'm calling wish of Shiva here, it's going to print what? Hi Shiva, good morning. There is no additional functionality here. Whatever the functionality that is already available here, we are going to execute that functionality only, but I require some additional feature. That is, if whatever the name I am going to pass here, if it is Shiva, it has to print good evening. That is the additional feature I want to add. If I pass any other name, it has to say good morning. Okay. So now I am going to write the concept of decorator here. Decorator has to be written above the function with the @ symbol. Okay. @ what is the name of this function? Decor function. Let us, you can take any name. Okay, just I am taking decor function here to represent it as a decoration function. Okay, so as a decorator function. So here, okay, decorator function I am going to call. Now observe carefully here. When I am going to execute this program, see the output, what happens. It has just printed what? Good evening. So how it has printed, now I will explain clearly. So see, if you understand this program, it will be very clear for you. So now see, first I am calling what? Wish of Shiva. So the control comes to here, and it is having some decorator function. So if it is having some decorator function, that decorator function is going to be called. And for this decorator function, the parameter is there. So whose while calling which function, decorator function is called. While calling which function, this decorator function is called. So for this decorator function, which is going to act as the parameter. That means fun is nothing but wish function. Now from now onwards, what happens? Fun is nothing but wish only. Right. Now see what happens here. This is one function. So directly I am coming here, return inner. That means what happens? It will call this inner function by passing some name here. Okay. So if name equals Shiva, that means whatever the name I have passed here, if it is Shiva, then it is going to print what? Good evening. If it is not the case, I am going to call func of name. Again, that means what? If Shiva, it is going to execute this one. If it is not Shiva, it is going to execute what? It is going to execute func of name. That means it is going to call which one? Wish of name. So then we are going to get output as hi, some name, good morning. Now I will pass some different name here. So after passing some different name, I will execute once again, so that we will get clarity on this one. So just I am passing wish of some RAM, I am going to pass here. So if I execute this program, just I will comment this one, comment this line. Now observe the output. Here I am going to get what? Hi Ram, good morning. We are going to get as an output. So what happens here? Observe clearly once again. wish are from. When I'm going to pass here wish are from, what happens? This name is what? Ram it is. So decor function. Decor function means it is going to call, while calling this wish function, we are having a decorator function. The name is what? Decor function. So first it will go, it will execute this decor function by passing the parameter as this wish of name. That means this func contains what? Wish of name. That means name means already it knows. What is the name we are passing here? We are going to pass name. So here it is having, func is already having, it is linked with what? Wish of name. Wish of name, it knows. Name is what? Ram. Okay. Now, right. It will not execute this one. Okay. It will not execute up to this one. Now I am calling what? Return of inner. Now what happens? It will call this inner function, and name is what? Name is Ram. It is going to pass here. Now it contains what? If name is Shiva, is name is Shiva? No. So it is going to it is not, it will not print good evening. So else it is going to call what? func of name. Func of name is nothing but what? Func contains what? Wish of name. So again it will come to this wish of name, and it is going to execute hi name good morning. That is hi Ram good morning is going to be executed. So this is the concept of decorator. So decorator function means, here in this case, which one is decorator function and what is the use of that function, I will show now. In this case, this function is a decorator function. What is the use of this function means, whenever I am going to call wish function, I want some additional feature for this wish function, so that I am calling which function? Decorator function. This decorator is going to do what? It is going to add some additional functionality for the existing function. That means this decorator function is going to take this function, and it is going to add some functionality, and it is going to return the output. That is same. I will take the example here, general example. So this is a function. So this is a function. I am going to send this function to decorator function. In decorator function, what happens? Some additional feature is going to be added, and output is going to what? We are going to get output function. So here first I am calling what? I am calling wish of Ram. This function is going to be called. I want to add some more functionality for this wish function, so that I am going to add decorator function here. So it calls this decorator function. So for this decorator function, the parameter will be what? Wish. So here wish will be there, and we are going to call this one return of inner. It is going to return what? It is calling inner function. If name is Shiva, what happens? It is going to execute good evening. So but the name is what? Here Ram is there. So else case it is going to call what? Function of name. That means wish of name it is going to call. Name is what? Ram. So once again the control come back to where? Here, and it will execute what? Hi Ram good morning, it is going to print. Let us consider it as a Shiva, for example. Wish of Shiva. So for this decorator function is there. Again first it will execute decorator function by passing the parameter as this wish only. Now here return inner, again it will go to here. Already we know the concepts of inner functions, nested functions we have seen in previous session. Now what happens? Inner goes here, and name is what? Name is nothing but Shiva I am going to pass. So we'll come inside this one. If name equal to Shiva, yes, name is Shiva only, then I will execute what? Print of good evening. Only good evening will be printed, and this function is not going to be called. Whatever the functionality you want to add, you can add. Just I have shown you a small example here. Okay. Next, I will show you 3 or 4 more examples, so that we'll get a clear clarity on this one. Okay, this is a small example to demonstrate a decorator function. So for which function I am going to decorate? For this wish function, I am adding some additional features. That means if it is the name, something has to be happened. If it is not the name, same thing has to be happened. In this way I am going to write additional functionality for this wish function. For decorator function, which function is going to act as a parameter? Whatever the function we are going to call, for this decorator is there. So for this decorator, this function is going to act as a parameter. Okay. So this is about decorator. Now I will take 2 more examples for this one. Now observe the case. The same example, if I don't want to take the concept of decorators, how I can call? Observe the case now. So same example, I will not use the concept of decorator function. That means decorators I don't want to use. That means I will remove this one. That means there is no concept of decorator here. Whenever you are going to write at the rate some function name, that is called as a decorator. But here there is no decorator. So this is also considered as what? This will be also considered as a normal function only. This is considered as normal function only. When this one will become a decorator function, when I am going to write at the rate this function name, then this function become decorator function. Okay, now it is not a decorator function, but I want the additional functionality also without using the decorator concept. So now whatever the program we have done before, the same output I want to get. So for that, without using the concept of decorators also I can do. So for that, what I have to do means I will not change any logic here. Just I am going to add one more line, that is I am going to write one more decor 1 equal. Yesterday's class I have shown you this concept. Okay, decor 1 equal to, I want to call which function here? Decor function. Decor function. Okay, so here I want to pass a parameter as wish. If you write directly here at the rate decor function, the same thing is going to be happened. Okay, now observe carefully here. Whenever I am going to call, what is the decor function? It is going to call decor function of wish. That means here it will be wish, here it is a decor function. So it will call what? Inner. So inner means what? Again, here we are going to call what? Inner of name. Name is what? For example, Shiva I am going to pass. If name is Shiva, it's going to print good evening. If it is not the case, it is going to print wish. Same thing it is going to be happen. If you are having decorator also, whatever we have explained now, it will be done. Without decorator, if I write this concept also, the same output will be generated. So for the first case, I am going to take wish of Ram. Okay, for first case, I am going to take what? Wish of Ram. Now observe the output, what we are going to get. Hi Ram, good evening. What happens here? Directly it called this one and it is executing hi Ram, good evening. There is no concept of calling this decor function here. Now I am going to use second case, that is I am going to call decor 1 of Ram. Decor 1 of Ram. That means here what happens? Decor 1 is going to have decor function. Okay. Now execute this one. So we are going to get what? Hi Ram, good morning only, because it is the Ram. I will change this one as Shiva here, for example. Okay. Now observe the case. It is, we are going to get what? Good evening. That means here what happens? Decor 1 is equal to decor function. For that decor function, I am going to call what? That means here I am going to call decor of 1. Decor of 1 means what happens? Decor of 1 means this function is going to be called, and as a parameter I have passed what? Wish. For that wish, Shiva is going to be passed. We have to observe this concept. So decor means decor function of wish. Okay, that is, for example, I'm going to take a small example here. Decor 1 means meaning is what? Decor 1 is nothing but decor function of wish is nothing but decor 1. Okay, this is entirely decor 1. For that decor 1, I am going to pass what? Shiva. That means additionally I am passing some value to this wish. That is nothing but what? For this I am going to pass a parameter. Okay, so this is nothing but decor 1 of Shiva is nothing but decor 1 means what? Decor function of wish. Okay, if I write decor 1 of Shiva, I am passing the parameter for wish, not for this decor function. Okay, because already decor function is having what? Wish. That means now decor 1 means meaning is what? Decor function of wish. The meaning of decor 1 is decor function of wish. And if I am passing Shiva, for this wish, the value is going to be passed. And now it is going to be verified here. Okay, now let us consider, I am going to take one more example here. Decor 1 of, I am going to pass some more name, some other name. So here what will be the output? It is not the Shiva. So that it will give me what? Hi Prasad, good morning. How it is going to execute? Observe carefully. Decor 1 of Prasad. That means what? In decor 1, what is that? Decor function of wish. So automatically we will go to here. Okay. In this, I am going to execute what? Return inner. This inner is containing what? Inner of name. Already name is what here I passed as Prasad. So Prasad equal to Shiva. It is not correct. So I will come to else case. Function of name. In function, which function, parameter is there? Wish is a parameter. That means function as a parameter. Wish of name. Then what happens? Name is already Prasad is there. So it will call here. So hi Prasad, good morning will be executed. So this is the case of a function without a decorators, but the same functionality. So if you don't want, for example, I don't want this concept. Let us remove this one. For example, I'm going to remove this one. Just I'm going to use a concept of decorator here. What I have to write? At the rate decor, whatever the function you want to act as a decorator function, just I will write that name of that function. Just from here, what I have to call? Wish of, I am going to some name, Shiva, I am going to call. Okay, this is not there. Okay, let us comment this one. Now observe the output. Okay, good evening we got, because I passed what? Shiva I have passed. If I pass Prasad, what happens? Same output what we have seen before we are going to get. Okay, now observe that. See here. Hi Prasad, good morning. We got. Now you may get one doubt. Sir, can I call decor function directly? So see, if I call decor function directly, here one parameter can be passed. That parameter can be anything. I will pass some name here. Observe what happens. If I pass name, let us see what happens. So I will comment this one. Now see what happens. It is going nothing. It is going to print, because what happens if I call name here? FUNC contains what? Name only. So written inner, when it goes to written inner, here nothing is there here. Okay, if name is Shiva, name is not also Shiva. Let us take here Shiva and observe that it is also, whether it prints or it will not print. So observe the case. It is not going to give you any output. Reason is, so decor of function, FUNC means Shiva only. It is not a function. It is not a function. Where is name? Name is nothing. I have not passed any name here. Okay. So it is going to, so for your case, I will print here what is name contains. I want to show you what name contains here. Observe that name. So it is not giving anything here. Okay. So that means what? In FUNC, I have passed what? Shiva. If I print FUNC, we are going to get what? If I print FUNC, you can observe what it is. So again, it is not going to give anything, because observe the case here. Here, what happens? Function is, I am passing it as a Shiva, and it will not enter, and I am calling what? Return of inner. I will go here, inner of name. What is name? I have not specified here. So that here name is not going to pass here. If name is Shiva, name is nothing is there. It will not print anything. Next, print of good morning will not be print. Else case, what happens? Function of name. What is this function? It is a variable. So it is nothing but a string. How we can call it as a function? It is not possible. So if I try to write here, for example, if I'm going to write wish, let us see what happens. So what happens here? We are not getting anything, because here in yesterday we have seen the concept. It is not going to return anything. So compulsory, if you want to use this concept, we have to assign that one to something. Okay. If you write in this way, we can observe the 1 minute. Here, if you are going to write this concept, here decorator is there. Okay. So decor equal to decor function I have to write, and I have to call that one. I'm not calling that one. 1 minute. Decor one off. I have to call with some name. In this way, I have to call. Sorry. The variable has to be, the parameter has to be passed. So we are going to get the output. So you have to understand the difference between all cases. Okay. So if you want to use the concept of decorator, we can use. So see, I am having decorator function here, but I'm not going to call wish. So if I call the wish also, same output will be there, because I'm using the decorator and I'm using the concept of other one also. So see here, if I call Shiva, two outputs will be printed as what? Same. Two outputs will be what? Good evening and good evening. Because I am calling wish, it is going to decorator function. Same thing is going to be happened. And if I do with these two steps also, same thing is going to be happened. So that for these two steps, I am getting good morning. For this one step, I am getting, sorry, for these two steps, I am going to get good evening. For this one step, I am going to get good evening only. So one point we have to understand, but as we are talking about this decorators, I will focus on this decorator concept only. So what is the use of this decorator function? So by using this decorator, I have to write at the rate some function name. If I write at the rate at some function name, it is going to act as a decorator function. So what it is going to do? What is the use of this decorator function? It is going to decorate. What it is going to decorate? Already it is going to decorate a function. Which function? Wish function. So that wish function is going to pass as a parameter. How it has to be decorated? I am going to write some logic here. You can write any logic. So later I will show you some logic, some other different program, so that there we are going to get very clearly we can understand. But here I want to show you only the, if there is a decorator function, how can do it? If there is no decorator function, how we have to use the concept of how to call the decorator function. I have shown you. Now this is a small example. Now I will take a one more example. There you will get a clarity on that one. Okay, right. Now see, I want to perform a division. So once I will show you about the division. See here, if I perform 4 by 2, I am going to get answer as 2.0. But if I perform some 4 by 0, I am going to get some error. Observe carefully. What happens if I'm going to give any two numbers? No problem. It may be anything. It is going to give the answer. But if the denominator is, okay, I will take numerator as 0 and denominator as 4. So 0.0 it is going to give. But except 0, if you give any value as a denominator, it performs some operation, no problem. So whenever the denominator is 0, see what happens, we are going to get the error. Now I want to make my function is going to perform what? My function is going to perform division. But whenever 0 is going to be there, then my function has to do what? Just it should not perform any division, because if we divide any number with 0, it is not possible to divide any number with 0. So I want to do something, some additional functionality I want. So observe this one. This is one function. Here I am going to perform a by b. So before going to perform this one, what I have to check? I have to check some other thing. I want to perform some operation, some additional operation. That is, I have to check whether b is equal to 0 or not. So if b equal to 0, what I have to do? I should not perform this operation. That is, a by b I should not perform. So that here just I will print what? You have written b value as 0. Please observe, or please check the value of b. I will write here. Otherwise, if this is not the case, what I have to call? I have to call the same function. Okay, once again I'm repeating. So here the concept is what? This is some function. Function 1 I'm going to consider. This is function 2. So before, this is normal function which is going to perform division operation. So if I am going to perform a division operation, what happens? There is one small problem is there. That is, a number cannot be divided with 0. A number can be divided with any other number except 0. So if you are going to 0, what happens? We are going to get a division error. So for that, what I am doing, this function is the task of this function is only for dividing. But before dividing, I want to do some additional functionality. That is what I want to check whether the denominator is 0 or not. That means what additional task I am going to do. For whom? For this function, because to perform this one I am going to perform some additional activity, okay, for this function only. So that, see, observe one case, this has to be understood compulsory. Because of this error, I don't want to get this error. If I don't want to get this error, what I have to do? First I have to perform some other additional concept. That is what I have to check whether the b value is 0 or not. If b value is 0, I will not go to this second function, that is function 1. Just I will go what? Just I'm going to return some message like, please enter b value as non-zero value. I will enter. Otherwise, let us consider b value is not 0. Then what happens? This function has to be executed. So this is the program I am going to write now. So if you understand this program, it's okay. Now let us take that example. Now see, right, the first I will write a normal program. That is what I have taken. Division I am going to take. Just def divide or division I am going to write. So for division I require what? Two variables. So I'm going to take two variables here. Right. What is the task I have to do here? I want to perform a what I can say, division. Just I will return the division value. So after that, I will take what, just I want to call that one print of. So as I am returning here, whether I have to store this value or I have to print the value, just I'm going to print the value as an output. Division of, I have to pass how many values for this one? 2 parameters I have to pass. So just I will pass 20 comma 2 for example. So now observe this case. Whenever I am going to execute this program, what we are going to get? We are going to get output as 10.0. There is no problem. But when I am going to consider b value as 0, what will be the output of this program? Here we are going to get an error as we have seen before. That is what? We are going to attempt a division by 0 operation, which is not possible. Now what I have to do? Now this is the concept, but my concept is what? I want to add additional functionality to this function. That is what? Before going to perform this division, I want to check, I want to perform some additional functionality. So that one I am going to write in some other function. That is what? Let us take that one as a 0 division. For example, if it is 0, it will go to this function. 0 division, I am going to take the name. So I will write the definition of that 0 division, that is 0 division. Okay, so 0 division I have taken here, and here what I have for which function I am going to call this one? For division function. So just I will take some parameter. Just you can take anything, but generally I am going to take function func. If you take anything also, no problem. Right, now what I have to do inside this one? Just I will define inner function here. Inner of two values we are going to get, a comma b, and next one what I am going to do? I want to print. First I want to tell the user that I am printing some values. That is, I am printing, or we are dividing a with b. Just I want to tell that user a with b. So now the user can understand what he is going to do. Okay, now so he knows what he is going to do. Now if the b value is 0, what I have to write? I have to give him a message that you are trying to divide a number with 0, which is not possible. So just I am going to give the message for the user. That is what I can write. We cannot divide the number, or you can write any message. We cannot divide the value a. Okay, already a is there. We cannot divide a with 0 with, otherwise I will write directly b. So that it is a 0, no problem. You can write any message, no problem here. So this is the concept I want to execute. So if it is the case, okay. If it is not the case, what happens? So if it is the case, just I will write if b equal to 0, print we can't divide a with b. If it is not the case, else I am going to write what? I want to call this function. If b is equal to not 0, there is non-zero, what happens? I have to execute this function. Division function has to be executed. So I have to call what? func of, I have to call a comma b. Just I'm going to call a comma b here, or just I will write return of a comma b. Okay, right, that means it will go to that function and it will execute. For this I am going to call return inner. Now listen, this is the program what we have to execute. First I have given two numbers here. So what happens? 20 and 0 are passed here. So before executing this function, I have to execute what? Decorator function. What's the name of that function? 0 division. So it will go to this 0 division, and for this 0 division, the parameter is what? The parameter will be division. So here what I am calling, observe here, nothing, it will not be executed, and I will execute what? Return inner I have to execute. 1 minute. Okay, this is not in this one. So which one I will execute? Return inner I will execute. So return inner means what? It will go to this inner and it will execute this one. Inner of a comma b is nothing but what? Already a b values are available with function 0 division in this function I am having. So if 20 comma 0 is there, so it will print what? We are dividing 20 comma 0, and it's going to check whether it is 0 or not. If it is 0, it is going to print this one. it will not go to else case. Let us check what happens if I execute this one. So see here, we are dividing 20 with 0. We cannot divide 20 with 0 is printed. Okay, so this is the case. So just here, if I write just I will write here return, empty return I will write, no problem. Okay, but anyway, none is going to print because I am not going to return anything in this case. But if I am not going to divide with 0, then what happens? Let us see. So just I will remove this one and I am going to place 2. So if I place 2, observe carefully here, division of 20 comma 2 will be passed to this, where what I am calling from here I am passing 20 comma 2. A value is 20, B value is 2. So decorator function is what? Zero division. So it will call this one by passing a division function to this one. Now it will come here written off inner. So it is going to call this one. And here what is going to be happened? We are dividing A with B, that is 20 with 2. It will print. If B equal to 0, is B equal to 0? No, it is 2. So it will not enter into this one. It is going to return what? Return function of A comma B. That means it is going to call in function what is there? Which is there. So it will execute this one. In this, what we are having? Return of A by B. Return of A by B is nothing but it is going to return some 20 by 2. It is going to give you answer as 10.0. So that is the case. Okay. So one thing we have to understand here, we can take any example, but main what we are going to check, see here, before going to perform this one. Otherwise, for this function I want to add a additional functionality. So where I am going to perform additional functionality? Inside a 0 division function, I am going to perform additional functionality, so that I am passing this function as a parameter to this one. That means what I am passing? One function. What is that function name? Division. I am passing division to 0 division, and it is going to perform some additional operation. It is going to perform some additional operation, and finally it is going to give some output. It is also returning what? It is also returning some function only. It will also return some output function. Okay, that output function is nothing but this one only, and we are going to execute this one. So finally we are going to get output as A divided by B in this example. Main thing here you have to observe is what is the functionality of decorator function. So this one directly we can call this one as a decorators also. Okay, this is the example. Now this is normal. Till now what we have seen, only single decorator we have seen, but we can also use the concept of chaining of decorators. Okay, that means what? Here for this decorator I am passing this one as a parameter. If I am going to take one more decorator, what is going to be happen? Let us see. That concept is called as decorator chaining. So first I will explain some points about the decorator chaining. So if we are going to have multiple decorators for a single function, okay, otherwise I can say multiple decorators can be chained. That is, here observe this one. The case is here, if you are going to consider one person, his marriage is there. Okay, one person is there, his marriage is there, so that he first he has to go to where? Saloon, for example. Saloon, he is going to first decorator. He is going to do what? Haircut. He is going to do some decoration. He is going to do haircut. Again he want to go to where? Beauty parlor, for example. Another linking, see, chaining here. Here what he has to do? He has to some makeup he has to do. That means some facial or some other thing he has to do here. That means additional makeup, second makeup, and finally we are going to get the output here. Okay, now that means what? First decorator is this one, and this particular person is going to here, and finally we are going to get the output. So better example for this one is, we can say, and one person or group of people, for example, group of people are there and they are going to an interview. Okay, this is what? Interview. Here interview is going to conducted by one company. So these 4 students are going to interview. So if they are going to interview, first process is what? They have to write a written test. First step is what? Written test. Right. Among them, So here some process is going to be done. So from that process, the output is what? Next level is what? Next level is technical round. Okay, for that only two students are, that means what? Two students are selected. That means here something is going to be happen. After that something, here two people are going to be sent. Again from here some process is going to be done on these two students, and again finally we are going to have a HR round, and finally the student is selected or not selected. We are going to get the result. This is nothing but what? These students are passed to here. After doing something here, they are passed to here. Next, after going to decorate something here, they are passed to here. After doing some decoration here, they are going to get finally output. Okay. So this is the example of a multiple decorators. So now let us see a small example in programming so that you will get some clarity on this one. So let us see one small program for this one. So observe carefully here. Same concept is same, but just we have to observe what? How the chaining is going to be done. See, here I am going to write some two decorators. I am going to take decor one. I am going to take. So here I am passing. So as we are have to pass one function to a decorator, you can. I am just representing it as a fun. You can take x, y, z or any name. Okay. Now generally we will take inner function, inner of. I have to pass what? Name. So just I am going to take a. I want to show you what? Chaining of decorators. So that just I am going to take a wish message only here also. Here I want to print in decorator one. I am going to take what? Inner function or nested function. There I am going to print just a message saying that decorator one is executing. So you can understand when this decorator one is executing and when the decorator two is executing. So after completing this one, I want to call another function. So that is fun of name. I am going to call. Observe one thing here carefully. What happens? I am going to interview. After interview, first round what is completed, that is written test is completed. I have to go to next step, that is what? Technical round. Okay, so I'm going to technical round here. Next, here I will write return inner. Now listen carefully. Here this is one decorator. Now I want to write second decorator. Same decor 2 I want to write. For this decor 2 also I'm going to pass some function. So here what I'm going to do, same thing, everything is same, but the message is I'm going to write decor 2 is executing. That's it. Name I'm going to take, and here I'm going to take a print of, this is which one? Decor 2. So I'm going to take decor 2 is executing. Okay, right. Now I have taken 2. So from here what happens? We have to call one more function. So function of name, right? This is the concept. Now finally completing, here I have to write return of return inner. Okay, right. These are the two decorators I have taken here. Now I am going to the main function, then not main function, the function what I want to call. So that is diff wish of some name I am going to take. Okay, now here I am going to print just a good morning message, that is hi some name, and I am going to wish him good morning. Okay, this is the concept. So now I want to show you decorator for this wish function. I am talking about what? I am talking about decorator chaining. I am going to talk. That means I have to show the chaining concept. So at the rate, that is what decorator I am going to write. Here I want to call, if I write decor 1, what happens? Tell me. Here if I write decor 1, before going to execute this wish, which function is going to be called? Decor 1 is going to be called. And for that what I'm going to pass as a parameter? This wish function. That means if I call in this way, what happens? For this decorator 1, which is going to be passed as a parameter. Now I am going to write one more parameter at the rate decor 2. Now observe carefully. If you understand the point what I am saying now, it will be easy to understand this program. That is, for this C, before going to execute wish, some decorator function is there, so it will go to this one. For this one also chaining is there. It will go to this one. That means before executing wish, decorator 1 will be called. Before executing decorator 1, decorator 2 will be called. Now the concept is, for this decorator 2, that means I will go here. For this decorator 2, what is the function that is going to be called? That is decor 1. Observe carefully, very important. So first what I am calling, first which one will be passed? Decor 2 is going to be called. That means here, for this, what is the parameter I am going to pass? The parameter will be decor 1. Okay, right. I will come inside of this one, and first statement that is going to print as what? Decor 2 is executing. Now I'm calling which one? Function of name. What is the function here? For this fun, what I am passed? Decor 1. So this is nothing but a decor 1. Now decor 1 will be called. So now decor 1 is going to execute. For this decor 1, what I am passing? Decor 1 of function. For this decor 1, once see carefully here, function of name is going to call decor 1, and here what happens? Print of decor 1 is executing. So decor 1 is here decor 2 is executing. Next one is what? Decor 1 is executing will be printed. Next, for this decorator 1, what is the parameter I am passing here? Wish of name. So then what happens? Here this function is going to act as a what? Wish of name. So first I will show you the output. Later, if you are unable to understand, once again I will repeat the same concept. So see, right. I will save this program and I will execute this one. So I have not called anything here. So what I have to do? I have to call something. First I have to call what? Wish method I have to call. So wish of I am going to call with some name. Okay, observe now. So see, what is the output we are going to get? First, which one is executed? Decor 2 is executed. Next, decor 1 is executed. Next, hi Shiva, good morning is executed. That means, observe carefully. I am calling wish of Shiva. So it will go to here. For this one, decorator is there. So for this decorator 1, wish is going to act as a parameter. Next, for this decorator 2, for this decorator 1, one more chaining is there. Decorator 2 is there. So first, which one will be called? Before executing decorator 1, decorator 2 will be called. So it will go to here. For this decorator 2, what will be the parameter? Decorator 1. For this decorator 1, what will be the parameter? Wish. So decorator 2, it will go in this fun, what will be there? Decor 2 will be there. Next, I am going to call what? Here I am going to call return inner. So it will execute this one. So the statement is going to print it as what? Decor 2 is executing. First statement is what? Decor 2 is executing. Next, what happens? It is calling fun of name. Neglect about name because I'm not focusing mainly about name in this decor 1 and decor 2. So don't worry about name. I'm calling what? Fun of. Fun means what here? Decor 1 I have passed. So for decor 1, what is the parameter that has passed? Wish. So I will call this one here. So it will go here. What is fun will be what? Wish. It will be wish. So again, I'm calling what? Return inner. So it will go to this inner of name. And it will print what? Decor is executing. After decor is executing is printed. Next I am calling what? Fun of name. For decor 1, what is the parameter I have passed? Wish. By default, it is going to be passed as a wish. So wish of name will be called. That means I will come to here and I will execute what? Hi name. Good morning will be executed. Okay. This is the process of decorator chaining. See, this is very important concept. Once again, briefly I am explaining. So here two decorators are there for a single function. So what I have to do means, so what is going to be happen means, for this decorator 1, what is the parameter is passed? Wish. For this decorator 2, what is the parameter that is going to be passed? Decorator 1. So first decorator 2 is going to be called. The function is fun is what here? Decorator 1. For decorator 1, what is the parameter? It is going to be wish. Right, don't worry. Next, I'm going to show one more example, real-time example. Just I will not take decor 1, decor 2. I will take a normal program. That is what happens means, my concept is I will give some number. My concept is what? I will give some number and my output should be square of that number. So what I'm going to give? I want to give some number. See here, I'm going to give number as 9. I want to get the square of this number. That is what is the square of this number? 81. But here the logic is, here for this one what happened? One function is enough. So which function? For example, I want to use square function. In this I am going to pass some number. For that number, I'm going to perform what? Square. So in this way, I'm going to perform. But now the concept is, I don't want only the square. Okay. I want some other additional feature. Okay. So for that additional feature, what I'm going to write? I'm going first for reading. First for reading, I'm going to take one function. 1 minute. So clearly I will explain. First, my concept is what? I am going to read some number. For that, I am going to take some num of x, or directly I will take define num of x. Okay. So here what I am going to write? Just I want to print this number, print of x. This is one function. Okay. If I call num of 10, what happens? This 10 is going to be passed here and it's going to print just 10. So before going to execute this one, what I want to perform? I want to perform some other operations. If it is the case, what will be the output? Output will be 10. But I don't want to print this one. I want, before printing the number as output, I want to print what? I want to perform square of that one. What I want to perform? Square. So for which one I am going to perform a square? For this function. Okay, what are the value here? It is passed. For that value, I want to perform a square. So what I have written? Square I have written. So I will define here. So define square of function I am going to write. So what happens here? This function is going to be passed to here for the square. Now here what I want to do? I want to perform the square. So define some inner I will write, and I'm going to write what? Some x here, and y equal to x power some 2 I'm going to write. This is nothing but x square. Now this is the concept what is going to be done. And I'm going to return some y to this one. Completed. My program is completed. But the concept is, I want to take a number. If it is even number, see, one more additional feature I'm going to tell you. If it is an even number, I want to perform a square. That means one more function I have to take here to check even or odd. Observe this one. For this number, what is the functionality I want to do? Square. So when I have to square, some more function is there. That means one more additional feature is there. That is, when if it is even or odd, I will check that even or odd. If it is even, I want to print. So I have to execute this function also. First, this function will be executed. After that, square will be, if it is even only, square will be executed. If it is square only, it will print. Sorry, after squaring, it will print. So first it is going to execute what? Even or odd. If it is even, it will perform square. If it is not even, it will not perform square. Next, after that, after performing square, it has to print. For printing that, I am going to come to num function. So for this, I am going to write a program. Stepwise, I will write. First, what I want to take? I want to take a number. So here for taking that, I am going to write this function. Just I want to print of x I want to print. Okay. This one is what? For see here if I call 1 minute. Okay, here if I call num of 10, what happens? So we are going to get output as 10. Observe this one. We are going to get output as what? 10 we are going to get. Okay. Now I don't want to print the number now. I want to perform for this number. I want to perform what? Square. That is one functionality, additional functionality. For that, I am going to use what? Square function. Okay. I am going to use what? Square function. So at the rate square, I want to call one more function. For square, I don't want to square every number. I want to square a number which is a even number only. So for that, what I have to write? One more function I am going to write even on. That means now how many functions I have to write? Two functions. So first function is what? I will write square. So before going to perform square, what I have to do? Even or odd. So first I will check even or odd. Okay. Define even odd. For here I am going to pass what? Function I am going to pass. Right. What I have to check here? I want to check. So inner I am going to write. Inner of x I am going to take. Right. Now here what I have to write? I want to perform this. Sorry. Okay. I want to do what? I want to check whether the number is even or odd. So if x percentile 2, if it is equal to 0, what is the case? It is nothing but it is an even number. So if it is the case, what I have to call? I have to call this function of x. Okay, what that function should be? If the number is even number, I want to perform square. This function should be what? Square. So it is square only. Now, right, this is, sorry, I have to pass what here? Function of x. Otherwise, if it is not the case, what I have to do? I should not do anything. Just I want to print given number is, I want to tell the user that given number is even, sorry, odd, I have to tell to the user. That's it. After that, completed. This is the concept what I have to do. This is what return inner I have to write. Return inner. Right. This is the concept. Now up to here, what I have done? I have done the even or odd. If it is even, what I have to do? I have to perform square. For that, square of some function I have to pass as a parameter. So fun, I'm going to do what here I have to do? I want to perform the square. So some define inner of x I'm going to take here. Okay, right. Same concept. What I have to do? Y equal to x power 2. It is nothing but x square. And I want to call what after performing this one? Function of y. The value has to be passed. Okay, this is the concept I want to perform. Observe carefully. Return inner. Okay, now listen carefully. See, this is my program. What I'm going to do? First I'm going to pass num of 10. This function is going to be called. X value is what? 10. So I don't want to print 10. After performing some operations on this function, that means what? After adding some functionalities to this function, I will print this x. That is what? So I am calling, before executing this num, I am passing what? Square. Okay, that means what? First square has to be executed before num. So before square, what has to be executed? Even or odd. That means for even or odd, what will be the parameter that is going to be passed? That is square. So for this even or odd, function will be what? Square. For this square, what will be the parameter that is going to be passed? Name. So now observe, first even or odd is going to be executed. So if fun, what is there? Square is there. Now it will come to this line. So directly it will, because no lines are there in this even or odd, only function is there, but only lastly what is there? Return inner is there. So whenever we are going to execute return inner, the control goes to here. And now what happens? X already is there. X value is what? It is going to take 10. If 10 modulo 2 equal to 0, yes. If 10 modulo 2 is it equal to 0? Yes, it is equal to 0. So we will call what? Fun of x. Fun of x means what? In this fun, what is there? Square is there. So I am calling from here square of 10. So it will come here. Square of here. Which function is already passed here? Num function is there already here. Remember that. Okay, right? It will come here. So and here what is going to be? Return of inner is going to be executed. That means this is going to be executed. Inner of x. Inner of x is value is what? X value what I have passed here? X value is 10. Y equal to 10 power 2 is going to call what? 10 power 2. Function of y. Here function is what? Function is nothing but wish. So it will send wish of 100 because y value is what? 100. So wish of 100 is passed. Sorry, not wish. Here fun of y is nothing but num of y. So it will call num function. The parameter is what? Y, and the y value is what? 100. The 100 will be passed here, and print of x. Print of x means what? Print of 100 is going to be, sorry, 100 is going to be printed. So see what is the answer? 100. In this way I am going, the program is going to execute. Now I will take here 9 for example. I will take 9 here. Now what happens? Same. This function is going to be called, and here above, for this two decorators are there. Chaining is there. That means what? For this square, num is going to pass as a parameter, and this for even or odd, this is going to act as a parameter. So first even or odd is going to be executed, and parameter is what? Square is going to be passed. And here it is going to check whether the number is even or odd. If it is even, this one will be called. If it is not even, what happens? Given number is odd is going to be printed. In this case, what is the number? 9. So what happens? Just it is going to print given number is odd. It is not going to call the square also. Okay, now see what is the output we are going to get? Given number is odd, because I have not written that function. If I, when I want to go to other square function, when I require, when it is the, when the given number is even, only I have to go to square function. But here given number is what? Odd. So we are not going to call the concept of square function for the odd numbers. So this is the concept of decorators, or we can say it as a decorator functions. So what we have seen in this session about a decorator, and we have seen one more example without a decorator, and next we have seen what I have taken chaining of the decorators also we have seen here. So in next session we are going to see one more important concept, that is generators. Thank you.